Happy Tuesday evening, everybody. I'm thrilled to say that Melissa is my only student this evening, so she agreed to film a class with me, which is pretty awesome. It gives us someone to look at other than me, which is always good. So we're coming onto our back, starting in a Shavasana this evening. Our theme for the practice, it is debate night in Cleveland. So our theme for the practice tonight is healthy growth. And how do we grow in a healthy way as an individual, as a community, as a family, as a couple, as parents. So our theme tonight is growth. We'll be working with tree pose and with handstands. So as you come onto your back, find your breath and allow it to be whatever it's going to be in this moment. Honor whatever you brought to your practice with you tonight. And I'd like to share a poem from Root to Bloom by Dana Falls called Flower of Truth. Let the subtle flow of energy lead. Be the freedom and magnificence you believed could only be achieved through years of struggle. Allow the movement and the moment to unfold you petal by petal until you are wide open. The flower of truth in unself-conscious full bloom. We may think that flowers open effortlessly to the sun, unfolding petal after petal until it stands in grace, open and honest, paying homage to the sun for its gifts of light. But that's simply not so. Think of the energy it takes to grow out of the dirt, to push its way up, to sprout and grow a strong stem, and to allow its leaves and petals to unfold. This, however, is not just the story of a flower. It's also the story of you, of your growth. A sunflower stands taller when it's supported by lots of sunflowers, which is also a lesson that we learn each and every day. Begin to interlace your hands and press them up and above your head towards the wall behind you, and you will need a wall, 2 blocks and a strap for this practice. And slowly release that tension. Do that one more time. Press the palms of your hands back towards the wall. Lengthen your legs. Draw your belly in. And slowly relax. Take a block now and place it between your inner upper thighs. Legs still long. Find Tadasana here on the earth. So really flex your toes back towards your knees. And press the palms of your hands towards the wall behind you. Feel your core engaged, so drop your belly down towards the earth. Take another breath, and let all that energy go. Do that one more time. Really squeeze the block, flex your feet towards knees, or toes towards your knees, and press your hands towards the wall behind you as if you were standing on the earth with your hands. And then release all of that energy. Begin to bend your knees and float your knees right over your hips. And then send the soles of your feet to the sky. Flex and point your toes. And keep that block between your thighs. Press strongly up again through the soles of your feet. And again, press your hands to the wall behind you. Spread your fingers, spread your toes. Take an easy breath in and out. Pull your low belly down towards your spine. One more time, take a deep breath in. And a full breath out. And begin to bend your knees, remove the block. Extend up through your feet again. And And begin to float your left heel above the earth and stretch your fingertips to the wall behind you again. Let your palms face one another, thumbs turn down, belly plugs in. Keep your arms there and bring your left leg up, right heel hovers, keeping that L shape through your legs. Bring your right leg up, extend your left leg down, heel floats above the earth. And one more time, float the left leg up, right heel hovers. Take a long breath in and out. And float your knees back to your chest. Rock around a little bit. Wiggle your sacrum on the earth here from side to side. And slowly begin to either roll to one side to come to sit or rock yourself up to come to sit. Grab your two blocks and place a block on either side of you next to your hips so that your hands can easily reach those two blocks. Float your legs to Sukhasana, easy seated pose. Press your hands down into the earth, and maybe you can lift your hips up, or maybe you're just engaging your arms. Float your shoulders back, maybe lift your hips to hover. And set yourself down. Switch the cross of your legs now. Again, strongly pressing hands into the block, roll your shoulders back, press down, maybe you lift your hips, maybe you don't. And slowly release your legs, your hips to the floor. Extend your legs forward, give your legs a little wiggle. And again, press strongly up through the heels of your hands. Flex your toes back towards their knees. Take an easy breath in here and a full breath out. One more deep breath in and release your hands to the earth. Flip yourself around to a table pose, and you can bring those blocks up to frame the top of your mat. Bring your hands under your shoulders, curl your toes, and curl your spine into cat stretch. Let your breath guide your movement. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat stretch. Again, inhale to cow. And exhale to cat. One more time, pace your breath and your movement. And come back to neutral. Extend your right heel straight back, flex your toes towards your knee, and draw your belly strongly in. Begin to turn your left toes slightly, see I'm mirroring. Turn your right toe slightly out, kick your leg out, and bring the sole of your foot to the earth as if you were setting up for gate. Creepy crawl those left fingers out to the left, and we'll find a few rounds of an awkward airplane. So press down into your right hand, firm your belly strongly, lift your left fingertips, lift your right toes, and slowly release. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Really firm your belly and your arm. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Tuck your hand and your knee back in, and find a few rounds of cat and cow. Or maybe wiggle your hips out in some circles. Just let it be a release, whatever it looks like for you. And then coming back to neutral again, extend your left leg straight back. Take a breath in here, flex your foot, spread your toes. And then turn your left toe slightly out, swing your leg out to a gate, planting your left foot on the earth. Creepy crawl those right fingertips out, firm your belly, and 3 times we'll come into awkward airplane. So float your right fingertips and your left foot away from the floor just a little bit, and slowly release. Firm your hand, firm your core, do that again, lift, and lower. And one more time, lift, and lower. Bring your hand and your knee in, and tuck into child's pose. So you can keep this one kind of tiny, like a little sprout, like a little seedling in the earth, maybe bringing your hands close to your heels, or floating your hands behind your heart in prayer pose. Let yourself settle in, breathe a deep breath. Releasing tension from your body so you can grow in your practice tonight. Float yourself to table once again. Grab a block, and we're coming to the back of the mat, so however you want to get there. Grab that block, standing at the back of your mat, and bring it between your inner upper thighs again, standing into Tadasana Mountain Pose. So bring that block between your inner upper thighs, reach up through your hands, and press up like you were standing on the ceiling. Lift and spread your toes, firm your belly in towards your spine, take a nice deep breath. Soften your knees, and one more breath in. Keep squeezing that block and slowly release. Come down to a fold. Keep your knees soft, halfway lift your spine, and exhale, let it go. Root to rise, back up, pressing strongly up through the palms of your hands. Exhale your hands to your heart. We'll do that again. This time we're walking forward to plank, press up through the heels of your hands. And exhale, easy release. Walk yourself forward, plank pose. Pause here. Keep squeezing the block. Take a breath in. You can bring your knees down. We're coming in for one push-up. So float into your toes halfway down. Press back up and into your heels, downward facing dog. Keep squeezing the block. Feel your toes and fingers spread wide. Soft knees. Deep breath here. And a full breath out. Slowly walk yourself back to your feet, coming into forward bend. Root to rise all the way up. Press up through the palms and heels of your hands. And exhale your hands to your heart. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, stretch all the way up. Press up through the palms of your hands. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Inhale, walk forward, plank pose. Pause here, spread your fingers, feel the roots grow through your fingers and toes. Slightly dome your upper back, get strong through your arms, and then find a little nugget of softness at the back of your heart. One push up from knees or toes, doesn't matter to me, float yourself down halfway. Press back up, downward facing dog. Hips to the sky, knees are soft. Now from here, you can either walk your hands back, or maybe you're feeling a little sassy and you can come up on your toes, bend your knees and hop forward and try to keep that block right where it is. Nice job. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to let go, root to rise, back up, pressing up through the heels of your hands. And float your hands to your heart. Let go of the block and frame the top of your mat with your two blocks. Standing in Tadasana, top of the mat, we'll notice the differences, but still remember the hug of the block. Inhale, stretch up. Wide arms, forward fold. Halfway lift, and let it go. Step back, plank pose. Take a breath in here, come down for a push-up, halfway, back up. This time we'll flow through. Come halfway all the way to the earth, uncurl your toes, circle your shoulders, and stretch your chest for cobra. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. Curl your toes, lift your seat. Extend strongly out through your right heel and spread your toes. Make your legs into a big L shape. Firm your belly strongly. Take a breath, come way up on your left tippy toes. Curl your right knee in and step through to a lunge. Hover your fingertips above the floor. And really squeeze your feet together. 3 breaths. 2 more breaths. And last long breath. Float your hands to the earth, step back plank pose. Right to left, float into your toes, 1 push up. Come halfway down, back up, into your heels, and flow through. Come all the way down, cobra, upward facing dog or sphinx, back bend of choice. Downward facing dog on your exhale. Curl your toes and lift your seat. Left leg strongly as it extends. Bring your legs to that L shape, rooting towards the heel on the right side and lifting up to the heel on the left. Come way up on your right tippy toes, look between your hands, curl your left knee in and step through to high lunge. Again, hovering those fingertips above the floor, actively squeeze your feet together. Take a breath in and a breath out. Another breath in, easy breath out. And one more time, deep breath in. Bring your hands down, step back, downward facing dog, all the way back. And pedal this one out. So bend and stretch your legs, maybe root a heel to the floor as you bend deeply into the other knee. Keep yourself long from your hands to your hips, ears balanced right between your biceps. Coming into that downward facing dog now, find some stillness and extend your right leg again, three-legged dog. This time stack right hip over left and maybe bend your knee, maybe circle your toes. Stand strong through your arms though. Feel your armpits slightly lift and your core engaged. Extend your leg long, square your hips, curl in and step through, coming back to high lunge, hover your fingers. Deep breath, full exhale. One more breath, full exhale. Hands or fingertips to the earth. Lift your left leg long, standing split. Extend it to the sky. Bow towards your right knee. Take a breath in and a breath out. Supporting yourself with hands or fingertips on the earth. Lift that right heel up and really extend your left leg. And then return your right heel. Now maybe one time, or maybe not at all, maybe you'll just lift your right heel. Maybe you take a little kick of that right heel towards your seat. So maybe you just lift through your right heel. Maybe you lift and hop and kick your right heel to your seat. So two good options, either a little half donkey kick or just lift your heel. Step back, warrior one, left leg back, heel goes down. Inhale, rise back up, square your hips, anchor into your low belly, take a breath here and a breath out. One more breath here. Sweep your hands behind you, coming into a half humble warrior. So just reach your spine long. So your heart reaches forward, your tail reaches back, and you're just over that right thigh. Soften your elbows a little bit, keep your heart reaching forward. Begin to step your left foot one footprint forward. So this is going to be fun, right? So lift and spread those right toes so you have a firm base. And start to lift your left leg. So maybe coming into this warrior three shape, or maybe turning for a bound half moon shape. So you can externally rotate, keep your gaze at the floor wherever you go. And if you start to fall out of it, you just bring your hand down. Find the pose of choice. Maybe you can keep the bind for a few breaths. And then we'll slowly release into a forward bend. Left foot meets the right. Shake that out, because that is hard. Inhale, lift up halfway, and exhale, let go. Firm your core, rise up to stand, press up through your palms, engage your arms, engage your core, and float your hands to your heart. Inhale, right back up. Wide arms and an open heart to fold, halfway lift on your in-breath. Exhale, step or hop, plank or maybe chaturanga. Flow through. And meet me in a downward facing dog. And we'll do the whole thing on the other side. Extend your left leg, bend, twist, and open. Stack your left hip over your right. Maybe circle those toes in the air, make some space. And then extend your legs, square your hips, put up on those right tippy toes, and step forward to your lunge, 2 breaths. Hover your fingertips. And one more breath. Bring your fingertips down, extend your right leg for standing split. Take a deep breath in and out here, really extending out into that L shape. Begin to lift your left heel, support yourself with hands or fingertips. Get really long with that right leg, and then return your heel to the earth. Now maybe you'll do that again, maybe with hands down, you can lift your heel and find a little hop, kick your left heel to your left sitting bone. Step it all the way back, warrior one, plant your right heel, and rise back up. Reach your arms up and square your hips. So as you squeeze your feet together, the right waist comes forward. Find some balance here. Take a breath in and sweep your hands behind your back. Coming into that half humble warrior, bow forward over your thigh. Keep stretching your chest forward, soften your elbows, widen your heart, broaden your collarbones. Begin to step that right foot a footprint forward. Take your gaze to the floor. Now your option, you can start in warrior three and maybe turn into a half moon, or maybe you bring your hands down for one of those poses. Let it be a little playful here. If you tip in and out, that's cool. Keep your gaze at the floor wherever you go. Most balanced place to find your drishti. Take one more breath. And bring yourself down into a forward bend. Step right to left, quickly or slowly. I like quickly. Inhale, halfway lift. And let it all go. Root down, rise up, press up through your left palm and take a side bend to the right, rooting strongly into that left foot. And bring it back to center, root into the right foot, stretch out through your right palm and bend to the left. And reach your arms up, hands through heart, forward fold. Halfway lift, and let it go. Step back to table. Drop your knees under your hips, curl your toes, even your pinky toe. And we'll come back for a little toe sit with some wrist release here. So open your arms up, palms face the sky. And if it gets to be too much, sink back on your heels. You can just bring your body weight slightly forward to take some of that pressure off your feet. So just begin to wave your hands like you're trying to fan yourself and get some air moving in the direction of your face, which isn't a bad idea right now. And then begin to turn your palms slightly out and flex your hands, spread your fingers nice and wide. And then let your wrists get a little lazy, turn your fingertips down, and start to wave your arms like you're flapping your wings here. Whew. Again, if it gets to be too much on your toes, lean slightly forward. Begin to bring the palms of your hands into your heart now. Really press into your finger pads and the heels of your hands. And begin to drop the heels of your hands a little lower than your elbows. So again, just looking for some release for your wrists. And then bring it back up. Bring your hands down, uncurl your toes and tap your toes on the floor to release your feet. And one more stretch for the wrists. Begin to take your left hand and turn your fingertips towards your knee and do the same thing with your right hand. And you got the stretch. You can walk your hands all the way back and it's not so bad, right? Maybe you walk your hands slightly forward so the heels of your hands are still under your shoulders, and then it gets to be a little more intense. Start to make some tiny circles with your hips wherever you landed to release your wrists. And then take those circles in the other direction. Bring yourself back to center, unwind your wrists, and bring yourself down to child or puppy. And this time begin to flip your palms up, maybe close your fists and open your fists, maybe just wiggle your fingers here in your child's pose. So let it be really sweet for your wrists and your arms and your shoulders too. As we are preparing for handstand, and we will need to use those and let them not be super tired and strong, right? So prepare yourself here, take a few more breaths. Slowly rise again to a downward facing dog. Reach your hands forward and lift your hips up. Raise your right leg, three-legged dog, and step through to a warrior two this time. So bring your foot between your hands, back heel descends, rise up and flip your palms up. Soften your shoulders. Soften your hands. And reverse that warrior, bringing your left hand to your back thigh or around for a half bind. Take your gaze back towards your left big toe. Fire up your legs by squeezing them towards the center of your mat. Take another breath here. And slowly release your hand behind your shin. Reach your left hand to the sky for extended side angle. Keep squeezing your feet to the middle of your mat. And then slowly begin to frame your face like you had a big beach ball between your hands. Bring your ears right between your biceps. And keep reaching forward. Squeeze your feet together even more. Bring your hands to prayer and upright yourself, warrior two. Again, press into the palms of your hands to release your wrists. So begin to bring the heels of your hands slightly down as your elbows float up. Maybe even separate the heels of your hands slightly and press into your fingers. Bring your hands back to a soft prayer. Roll your shoulders back. Take your gaze to the earth and step your left foot forward a footprint. We're going to try a half moon balancing here with hands at heart. Now, if it gets to be too much, you've got a block. You can put a block right there. Just bring your fingertips down there. But let's try it. Let's play here for a little bit. Get really strong through that right leg and start to float your left leg up, keeping your gaze at the floor. Strongly flex your left toes towards its knee. Maybe you can roll your heart open any amount more. And then bring your right hand down, left arm up, half moon. Take one more breath, and then bring that left hand down, standing split. Fingertips support you, lift way up off that right heel, get tall through the left leg. Forward fold, left foot meets the right. Halfway lift, inhale. Let it go, exhale. Root down, rise up. Press up through the palms of your hands. Take your right hand to your left wrist. Press it in. And bring it back to center. Press up again through your hands. Left hand to right wrist. Take it over to the left. Bring it back to center and hands to the heart. Inhale, reach wide and up. And open your heart to fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Step to plank or hop to chaturanga. Bring yourself back. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga flow through. Maybe coming all the way down or just halfway for that upward facing dog or cobra. Make your way back to downward facing dog. Curl your toes, lift your knees, lift your seat. Extend your left leg strongly up, press up, three-legged dog, curl in, step through, warrior two. Again, actively squeeze your feet together, open your arms to a T. Take your gaze out over that left palm and breathe deeply. Stay connected to your core, so not rib popping, but feeling a connection between the pubic bone and ribs. Reverse that warrior, right hand to back thigh or around for a half bind. Keep softening both shoulders away from your ears. Take a long breath in and a slow breath out. Take another breath and float yourself back to warrior two, hand behind your shin, extended side angle, right hand straight up. And get really long through your limbs, from heart to hands, from hips to feet, strong squeeze to the middle of your mat. Begin to slowly float your triceps next to your ears like you have that beach ball between your arms, long spine from your pinky toe to your pinky fingers. One more breath here, Dvihasta Parsvakonasana, and slowly float your hands to your heart, upright yourself, warrior two. Little press into the finger pads and palms of the hands to release your wrists. Maybe even taking your wrists a little lower than your elbows and really pressing into your fingers. And then float it back to center. Now here again, we're coming into that play with the balancing half moon. Keep your hands at your heart as long as you can. and then you can put your hand on the block when you're ready. Step your right foot forward a footprint. Lift and spread those left toes so you have a firm foundation. And begin to float that right leg up and away from the floor. Keep your gaze at the earth. Flex your right toes towards your knee. And maybe you can externally rotate that right hip a little more. Bring your left hand to the block, right hand to the sky. Balancing half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. One more breath here. And slowly release your right hand. Release your left hand to the earth. Rise up off the left heel. Reach long through your right leg. And find a forward fold. Right foot meets the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let go. Step or hop, plank or chaturanga. Make your way back to dog. Maybe you want to flow, maybe you don't. And that's where we'll meet Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And bring yourself to child or to puppy pose. You can walk your hands forward, keep your hips over your knees. Stretch your spine long. Begin to slowly make your way to your belly for a Sphinx pose. So let your hips settle. Bring your elbows under your shoulders and spread your hands wide. And really feel the connection of your hands to the earth here. So we're totally non-weight bearing in the hands right now. So give your fingers a little wiggle. And then slowly begin, without lowering the heel of your hand, just press into your fingers. So your thumb, your index and middle, and fourth and fifth fingers. And just really press down into your fingers. Feel your palm lift, the heel of your hand lift. And notice how strong your fingers are. And then give a little squeeze in without moving your hands. And then lift your fingers and wiggle them again. And this time bring your finger pads down and then float the heel of your hand down. See if you can keep that little space underneath your palms. So keep squeezing your hands in like you have talons or claws, and you're squeezing the finger pads in towards the palm of your hand without lowering the palm of your hand. And then soften your hands. Float your forehead down, your hands behind your back, locust pose. So really reach out through the tiptoes, hands interlace at your sacrum, shoulders roll back, lift everything that you can and breathe. Spread your toes wide, roll your shoulders back. Expand your collarbones wide. Keep your gaze at the earth so you're not cranking through your neck. We want the neck to be long and in line with your spine. Take another breath here. And release your feet. Slowly fold your hands. And maybe turn your head to your favorite side, or put your forehead in your hands, or just put your head, your ear on the floor. Shimmy your hips a little bit. Maybe bend your knees and wiper your feet. That's up to you. And begin to slowly plant your hands on the floor. And find a downward facing dog. Toes curl, hips lift. And we're coming towards pigeon pose. So raise your left leg. We'll start there, our soft feminine side, right? So extend your left leg and bring your left knee a little wider than the heel of your hand. And your shin can be parallel to the front edge of the mat, but it might not be at 5:30 on a Tuesday, right? So bring your heel closer to your right hip point. And then sneak back a little through those right toes. Squeeze your inner thighs together so your hips balance out. And then you can uncurl or keep those toes curled as you come all the way to forearms or forearms to a block. And find your fold. Sometimes as we grow, we need to stretch ourselves a little bit. We also need rest and breath, and find it all right here. Take 3 more breaths here. At the bottom of that third exhalation, begin to bring your hands to the floor and slowly roll yourself a little bit onto that left hip to swing your right leg forward. So roll slightly to the left as you swing your leg forward for a seated tree, or it's called Jolynn. So pull the sole of your left foot into your inner right thigh, draw the flesh away from your seat. If you need to use your strap, grab your strap, and we'll float that around the ball of your foot. Take a breath in here, stretch your spine long. You can also frame your shin with your fingertips. And as you exhale, keeping a soft bend to that right knee, begin to fold. Now maybe you can float your left hand to your outer right foot or ankle, or float your left hand up to both straps to find a little twist. Keep your heart open, your spine long, head in line with your spine. Lot of breath here. Keep that soft bend to your right knee so you're not hyperextending, and let yourself settle. Begin to slowly unwind and release the strap if you have it. Begin to walk yourself back up. Extend your left leg in line with your right. Wiggle your legs. Notice if your one leg feels a little longer than the other one. And then bring your hands behind you. Fingertips float towards your hips. Point your toes and find Purvottanasana, incline plane. So as you press down, lift your heart, your hips. Keep your gaze straight up, not dropping your head back. Long line, long plane. Strong arms, strong shoulders, one more breath. And bring it all the way back down. And spin yourself around and you'll find a downward facing dog. We'll do the whole thing on the right side. So find your dog pose here. Maybe wiggle it out, pedal it out a little bit. Ears between your arms, right leg extends, 3-legged dog. Take a breath. And draw your right knee out towards the heel and pinky toe, or pinky finger side of your hand. Sneak back through your left toes, leg is long and down the left side of your mat. And then give a little hug between your inner thighs so you feel that left hip grow a little heavier. Get closer to the earth, nice. Back toes can remain curled or you can uncurl them depending on how that feels for your knee. And then bring yourself down to the earth for a sweet pigeon pose. You can bring a block in to support your forehead if that feels like a good option for you, so it's not just hanging out there. And get reconnected to your breath. Three more breaths where you are. At the bottom of your third breath, begin back leg forward, rolling off onto your right hip for that seated tree pose again. So flex your left toes, bring the sole of your right foot in, and rotate the flesh away from your sit bones. Again, you can use your strap around the ball of your foot or frame your shin and stretch your heart forward. And start to breathe here. Create some length in your side body, strength to your core, and then maybe take your hands, your right hand across your ankle or your foot, or maybe take both straps in your right hand to deepen your twist. So imagine that you could bring those right ribs towards your left inner thigh as you turn your heart to the left. Keep a soft bend in your left knee. One more breath here. Complete inhale and a complete letting go. And begin to slowly unwind. Extend your right leg next to your left. Notice if you have a little more balance now in the length of your legs. Bring your hands behind you a little wider than your hips. Fingertips point towards your hips. Point your toes. And one more time, lift up to incline plane. Strong arms, open heart, gazes up. Take another long breath in where you are. And slowly release yourself to the earth. So, I know at the beginning of the practice I casually mentioned that you would need a wall. So if you don't have a wall, find a wall now. You can pause us for a moment. We're going to find a wall. So go ahead and bring yourself back to a table pose with your toes at the wall. So I'm going to wiggle my mat back there, but you don't need it right up against the wall. But you do need your toes up against the wall. So toes on the floor, heels up the wall. And bring your shoulders directly underneath, or your heels of your hands directly underneath your shoulders. For this first round, I'm going to have you then float your hands about a half a handprint forward. And shift your shoulders slightly forward. It always seems a little safer, so your hips aren't directly over your shoulders. But we're not coming all the way up into an L handstand in this round. So from here, come into a short dog pose. And lift your seat up, keep your knees sweetly bent here, and really stretch your arms long. So your hands should be a little bit wider than your shoulders. If you look at the webbing between your second and third fingers, it should line up with the outside edges of your shoulders. Begin to float your right foot up to the height of your right hip. And just place the ball of your right foot right there next to, in front of, or behind your right hip. Keep that knee deeply bent and begin to take the left foot up with it. Keep both knees bent and just find a little back bend here. So really lift your seat, keeping those knees super uber bent, and then drop your right foot down and your left foot down and come back to your table pose. And sit back for a moment in kneeling Vajrasana. Let your hands rest on your thighs, palms turned up. You can stack them or just let them one on top of each thigh. And pause here with your breath. Now, if that felt really good and safe to you, maybe you come right back there, or maybe you come into the full shape of an L handstand. So with this, we'll bring the heels of the hands directly under your shoulders, curl your toes, and find that short dog pose. So really spreading those fingers wide, side body is long, heart is soft. Roll the shoulders back, core is strong. So some extra steps there for some of you. Bend your knees deeply, and then take the ball of your right foot up behind your right hip one more time. Press into that foot and join it with the left. Now maybe you're taking that little back bend again, where your knees stay bent. Maybe you can stretch your legs and bring your ears right between your arms like a downward facing dog. Beautiful. What's up? Strong arms, strong legs. Maybe slippery feet, right? And take another breath here. And bring yourself back down to kneeling pose. And again, turn the palms of your hands out. Now, if your wrists aren't super cranky and you want to play a little bit more with L handstand, or maybe take a full handstand at the wall, pause us. If you want to play with a little moonwalking your legs, you can do a little Bring yourself down, curl your knees in, and rock a little bit from side to side. Massage your back. Place your feet on the floor and we'll take some rolling bridge poses. So maybe you want to use your strap for this. So if your shoulders are tight or tired now, you might want to put the strap underneath your booty, just so it's there. And you might get there and you might be totally fine interlacing your hands. You do you, right? So slide your heels in close to your hips, snuggle your shoulders underneath you so your heart is open. Robot your arms, so place the upper arms right next to your ribs, fingers turned up. Press down into your feet, begin to curl your hips up, your low ribs, your upper ribs, curl your chest, and then slowly bring it down. We're going to do 2 more of those. And I want you to take your time and move to your breath pacing. Inhale up, and exhale down. And do that one more time. Inhale up, and exhale down. Now for this 4th bridge, you can lift your hips and interlace your hands. Maybe you'd like to place your hands on the strap and snuggle your shoulders instead. All right, so just pay attention to how tired your shoulders and your arms are. Keep your knees closed. If you feel like you splay your knees way out, you can always use that block and place it between your thighs to keep yourself honest. Stick with that full breath. Eckhart Tolle says when we are present to the breath, our mind can't be anywhere else. So that's why we focus on the breath so much in yoga, right? Take one more balanced breath. And on your exhale, slowly release your hips back to the floor. Take a block now and tuck it underneath your low back at the lowest level. And find a supported bridge. Again, we want those knees coming straight out of the hip points. You can rest your hands on your belly or next to you on the earth with your palms up. As you settle in and you take those first few full breaths and you feel your low back relax and expand, maybe you can float your feet up over your knees, over your hips for a supported shoulder stand. Maybe that's a good place for you to be. Maybe feet on the earth is where it's at for you tonight. Take 3 more breaths here, wherever you landed, in bridge or supported shoulder stand. At the bottom of your 3rd exhale, float your feet back to the earth if they're lifted. Press down into your feet, lift your hips enough to let the block go. And then bring yourself slowly to the earth. Take the heels of your hands to the base of your thighs and give a gentle press forward, remembering the length in your spine and side body. And release that press, float your legs long, shift your heels of your feet over to the left, and maybe cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Begin to push into your elbows and float your upper back and your head to the left as well, finding this crescent moon shape in your body called Banana Asana, of course. That would be what we would call it. Press up through your right hand, take your left hand to your right wrist, and stretch everything over to the left. So you're making this big crescent arc through your right side. Flex your feet so your legs remain engaged. And slowly shift your heart your shoulders to center, uncross your legs, and just flex and point your toes a few times like you were settling your body into sand. So really rapidly here, and let your low back release again. Slow it down. Take your heels over to the right and cross your left ankle over your right. And again, pick up your upper body and move it over to the right. Press through the left heel of the hand and take your right hand to your left wrist and arc your whole left side. Flex your feet. Come back to your breath. And release hand from wrist. Slowly shift your body back to center and unwind your legs. Again, a strong flex and point of your feet. Keep it really rapid here so you feel like you're settling your body a little deeper. You're rooting into the earth, coming back to the home base here. Now you can stay right here for your Shavasana. Maybe you want to float the soles of your feet together, knees apart, maybe tucking blocks underneath your knees. Find a place to settle, a place to restore, a place from where growth can happen once again. And I'll leave Melissa to her Shavasana as I rise up to sit. Return your awareness to the rhythm of your breath. Let it slow down. As your petals softly fold in and you return to the earth, take a moment to reflect on your practice today. Return your awareness to your breath. If you have more time to spend in Shavasana today, please do so. Just pause us. If you're moving on with your evening, begin to slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes and make gentle movements to awaken your body. Begin to slowly bend your knees and perhaps give yourself a hug. You're creating that seed-like shape in your body once again. Begin to float yourself onto your right side and curl up there. Anticipating the blooming once again. Press your hands down into the earth and rise up to sit, unfolding your petals once again. Allow your spine to lengthen, your eyes to close, and float your hands again back to your heart. And once again, sharing this lovely reading from Deanna called Flower of Truth. Let the subtle flow of energy lead. Be the freedom and magnificence you believed could only be achieved through years of struggle. Allow the movement and the moment to unfold you petal by petal until you are wide open. The flower of truth in unself-conscious full bloom. As we move into an evening of great debate between two very different candidates, may you unfold as the flower of truth. Whatever your beliefs are, be open to the other. No judgment. We take the same practice in our yoga practice as we come to the mat. Be just as generous off the mat this evening and just as open. Always coming back to what is the truth. Thanks for sharing our practice. Thank you, Melissa. In gratitude to all of you for joining us, let us bow to one another as we say,